Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching yet another episode of Lima Shenanigans of 1977. It's Monday night, and you know what that means. It's time for your weekly WWE Monday Night Raw Event Center report. And now here is the man to give you that report, Mr. Eric M. Lima.
Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Lima Shenanigans 1977. Episode 1633. Well, I got a lot of videos to do, and so I figured got a lot of ground to cover all this week. As you know, this is the final week of August 2024 as we head into September. A lot of kids are going to go back to school and all this good stuff, and I think some kids are already started school early. I think there's a lot of strategy going into starting school early for all the kids out there. As you know, we may have, who knows if we're going to have any snow days during the wintertime. And every time you have a snow day, you miss a day at school. Sometimes because, sometimes when, cars will have trouble driving around and for everyone's safety. So, just in case that, in the event that happens, you can start early. That way, if you start early, you can end around the same time, despite having snow days. And that could be a big advantage. So some people are being very smart about this, and it's like, okay, we can do this and all that good stuff. But however, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But right now, like I said, there's a lot to talk about on my videos. I'm going to do a lot of videos today. So, but first things first, we're going to kick off what happened last night on Monday Night Raw. This is the final Monday Night Raw before Bash in Berlin this coming Saturday on the Peacock, PLA, Premium Live. Like WWE's going back to back with the PLA events. First, it will be Bash in Berlin this coming Saturday, and this Sunday, September the 1st, no NXT, no Mercy. That's right. Really excited about this. And as you also know, that SmackDown next month, was it 2 weeks from this Saturday? No, not from Saturday. Friday, excuse me. 2 weeks from this Friday the 13th. Yeah, I'm not lying. SmackDown is moving to the USA Network. And then NXT will move to the CW in October. And Raw will move to Netflix this coming January. So for a short time, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT will be all on the USA Network. I'm sure people will probably make jokes about USA Network, calling it the Wrestling Network, the WWE Network. Maybe a little change in the names. At a time, USA will probably be the most watched cable network. Hey, that happened before. You have all the game shows back in the 80s, being part of it, you know what kind of sucked though. It's too bad that the USA Network never had Joker's Wild, Tic Tac Toe, and Bullseye back to back on the USA Network. That would have been a great the Barry and Enright block. Or you can throw in a little bit of play to the percentages. That would be a really cool thing too. It could have been awesome. But however, let's get to it. The Judgment Day, the new Judgment Day, kicked off Monday Night Raw, addressing why they turned their backs on, Finn Balor on Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. But then, for those of you who know, Corey Graves is back on Raw, filling in for Pat McAfee. I think if that's the case, Joe Tessitore, who was supposed to be making his debut, we haven't heard anything from him yet, could make his debut on SmackDown, or is he going to wait until they move to the USA Network to get him in? We'll find out for sure. Right now, Corey Graves filling in for Pat McAfee as he's doing his College Game Day thing, and as Judgment Day keeps running their mouths about what they're going to do and of course, when it comes to Dominic Mysterio, he runs his mouth. Here comes the LWO. We haven't seen them in a while, and they had a confrontation, and then all of a sudden, they have a conversation, then both of them brawl, and it got to the point where Adam Pearce during the commercial break said, hey, how about this? We're making this stay an 8-man tag team matchup. The LWO, and just to let you know who the players are in each group, the LWO, Rey Mysterio, WWE Hall of Famer, WWE Hall of Famer, Joaquin Wilde, Cruz del Toro, and Dragon Lee. to go up against the Judgment Day, Finn Balor, and JD McDonough, the World Tag Team Champions, along with Carlito and Dominic Mysterio with Liv Morgan in their corner. Zelina Vega supposedly still hurt. Well, more on her when we get to it. And Liv Morgan obviously gets involved during the matchup and helping the Judgment Day win the matchup. And then Judgment Day, they ain't done yet. They decide to attack the LWO. Here comes Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. Start to clean house. And the Judgment Day is retreating. You got Finn Balor Damian Priest wants a piece of Finn Balor. But those World Tag Team titles, they're going to come off the waist of the Judgment Day. Who's going to be there? We'll find out. Meanwhile, Jackie Redmond interviews The Miz. About The Miz now the Intercontinental Championship tournament goes a little bit like this. There'll be 4 triple threat matches. Two of them happened last night. 2 of them next week, and the winner of each of those triple threat matches will battle it out in a fatal 4-way. And the winner of that fatal 4-way will face Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship. So The Miz was determined to try to win the title for tying the record for 9 times. Chris Jericho has the record for 9 times holding the Intercontinental title. What makes be very interesting. If Miz ends up winning the Intercontinental title for 9th time, could him and Gunther try to have a brag to see who was the greatest Intercontinental champion of all time? But Gunther has bigger fish to fry, I gotta admit. So there's that. Also, Bronson Reed interrupts the Miz and he says, "You know what? After I get done with Truth, I beat up Rollins, I beat up R-Truth, and after I get done with Strowman, it's going to go right back to you." Seems like Bronson Reed is targeting The Miz once again. If I were The Miz, I would keep my mouth shut and try to find a way to outsmart Bronson Reed. But right now, Miz has got to worry about the triple threat. As he faces the team he faces Xavier Woods and Pete Dunne and later on. Meanwhile, the New Day, just Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods talk things out. Say, hey, listen, and because they know something about Xavier Woods, and Xavier Woods, it's all good. And then the two shake hands and hug. Really cool for now. Meanwhile, Kathy Kelly interviewed the Pure Fusion Collective. That's Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark, and they mentioned all the people they've taken out: Zelina Vega, Dakota Kai, and Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. And they think that Io and Kairi are going to be next on their list. I wouldn't underestimate those 2 young ladies, man. I'll tell you one thing: the Jumping Bomb Angels, they're not, but let me tell you, they can be better than the Jumping Bomb Angels, and they have done that already. As far as Kairi and Io are concerned, the remaining members of Damage Control. Remember, so Damage Control, that's Kairi Sane and Io Sky right now, going against Pure Fusion Collective. They had Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, who had both ladies on the Pure Fusion Collective. Baszler and Stark had history with both those ladies during their time in NXT. Zoe Stark was women's tag team champs with Io Sky in NXT. Shayna Baszler fought Kairi Sane. Of course, Kairi was the one that defeated Shayna Baszler to win her first NXT championship, take over Brooklyn a few years back. And during the matchup, however, as Sonya Deville was watching on, Kairi and Io would be outnumbered, but not so. Zelina Vega, who did not show up at ringside for the LWO, we still assumed that she was injured, she took out Sonya Deville, distracting Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. Io Sky and Kairi Sane ended up taking advantage of that opportunity and ended up winning the match for their team. And I would not be surprised if Zelina Vega joins forces with Dakota Kai, the Io Sky and Kairi Sane. And Io Sky, whose hero is Io Sky's? That'll be Rey Mysterio. And Zelina Vega was part of the LWO, headed by Rey Mysterio. So I wouldn't be surprised if Zelina Vega, Kairi Sane, and Io Sky join forces against the Pure Fusion Collective. And I'll tell you one thing: those ladies right now with Asuka hurt and Dakota hurt, they're gonna need all the help they can get, and Zelina Vega would fit right in. Let me tell you, that'll be really cool. Meanwhile, Bo Dallas and Uncle Howdy was addressing Chad Gable. As you know, Uncle Howdy will make his in-ring debut, in-ring return to the ring for the very first time in a long time, and up against the American-made leader, Chad Gable. Drew McIntyre was dressing the Providence because Raw took place in Providence, Rhode Island, not too far from where I live, here in New Bedford. It's like, how do you get to Providence? For me, all I gotta do is hop on 195. You're there, Dunkin' Donuts Center. Anyways, Drew McIntyre addresses the Providence crowd and starts running his mouth about CM Punk. CM Punk interrupts and attacks McIntyre with a strap. As you know, both men brawling out in the arena. They were fighting, they were fighting all over the place. Security decided to break it up, but CM Punk decided, well, he'll take care of the security in that endeavor. And then Braun Strowman addresses Bronson Reed. These two men that I like to call big meaty man slapping meat. Oh, by the way, before I continue on, I want to welcome a new subscriber. I forgot to do this. Forgive me. Comedy Fan 74. I subscribe to his channel because of all the theme songs of game show theme songs he has. If you're a game show fan and you like theme songs, from game shows, check out his channel, please. Comedy Fan 74. Hello, and thank you for your subscription and your support of this great channel. So, here comes the first Intercontinental Championship #1 contenders matchup as Jey Uso versus Karrion Kross and Kofi Kingston. New Day! And Jey Uso ended up winning the matchup, so he'll be 1/4 of the Fatal 4-Way #1 contenders match for the Intercontinental Championship. Jey Uso's trying to branch out on his own, but sometimes when you try to get out, they'll pull you back in. I'm afraid Solo Sikoa's antics are going to have to summon Jey Uso back to SmackDown, and that could be a trade, though. Could be that Randy Orton going to Raw. Could that mean Jey Uso moving back to SmackDown and try to assist Roman Reigns against the new bloodline? Interesting thoughts to go into this. Speaking of Randy Orton, Gunther addresses Bash in Berlin as he's already in Europe, trying to prepare himself for battle and do live shows there. So, we'll see what happens. Randy Orton addresses the Providence crowd, thanking them. He says, every time you do my theme song and sing it, it means a lot to me. But also, he addresses Gunther. And Gunther, well, he's got problems. That's Gunther for you. And respond to Gunther, and Randy Orton's trying to move into second place for most WWE World Title victories at 15. Right now he's standing at 14, tied with Triple H. Only a matter of time. So we'll see what happens at Bash in Berlin this Saturday. Meanwhile, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn were addressing their challengers at Bash in Berlin, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. And it seems like the EST Storm has got their work cut out for them. We'll see what happens. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn saying that they'll keep the titles. So we'll see what happens with those ladies. Well, it's time for the Big E special of the match of the night, so to speak. Braun Strowman versus Bronson Reed. When I call it Big E special, he always says big meaty men slap meat. These two, they were beating the you-know-what out of each other. They were brawling all over the Dunkin' in Providence. I mean, they were just beating the you-know-what out of each other. They were beating each other up to the point where they continued to brawl after the bell. It was a no contest, but they brawled all over the arena to the point they brawled outside in the parking lot. Strowman slams Reed on top of a car, and then all of a sudden Strowman comes flying on another car, gets slammed on top of another car, then Bronson Reed goes off the top of the not scaffolding. Oh, it was like a wall there, a cement wall, went near the parking area, and he did a tsunami on Braun Strowman while on top of a car. and the light inside the car went poof, it flashed out. I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, Bronson Reed, and here's the crazy part. Braun Strowman's receiving medical attention, saying he can't feel his fingers, while freaking Bronson Reed gets up, walks out on his own power, doesn't need any medical attention. What? This Bronson Reed's not human. Let me tell you. I gotta tell you, Bronson Reed, man, he took out Braun Strowman. When you take out somebody as big as Braun Strowman, man, unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. So, if Braun Strowman recovers from this, I think those two will have unfinished business. And believe me, this is going to be a fight. I don't know any. You're going to need a special guest referee for that matchup. And probably, I don't know if you can contain these two. I don't know if a steel cage will contain these two. Well, we'll find out how Braun Strowman feels afterwards. We'll get, hopefully, the WWE has a medical update on him. Meanwhile, the second triple threat match for the number one contenders for the Intercontinental title, as The Miz went up against Pete Dunne and Xavier Woods. As you know, Xavier Woods was thinking about breaking out on his own. Karrion Kross done something to him. We'll find out what this is. We'll find out how it's going to develop in this matchup. And this match could have gone either way, but Pete Dunne ends up winning the matchup, and he'll be. So one half of the Fatal 4-Way field is complete so far. We have two more triple threat matches next week on Monday Night Raw, probably. So that's going to be a huge deal. As you know, one match has already been signed for next week. Zelina Vega facing Shayna Baszler. So Jackie Redmond interviewed Braun Breaker and congratulated both Jey Uso and Pete Dunne. But he says, well, you're stepping in the ring with me, and I'm going to keep this title. So we shall see. Meanwhile, Chad Gable is working out with American Made, along with Ivy Nile, who's now joined them. Addresses Uncle Howdy. And then, and how he says that you don't mess with American Made. Meanwhile, Priest and Ripley respond to the Judgment Day. They got their marching orders for Bash in Berlin as Priest and Ripley go up against Dominic Mysterio and the Women's World Champ, Liv Morgan. So that's going to be a huge deal. Well, before we go on this next thing, yesterday before Raw went on the air, Gunnar Udy, who is the son of Sid Udy, who we know as Sid Vicious, Sid Justice, and Psycho Sid, had announced that his father died battling cancer and passed away at the age of 63. But died before his 64th birthday. And to me, Sid was one of the best big men out there. You know, he can cut promos. Sometimes he botches on them, but although he turned out, you know, and he had some memorable moments in professional wrestling. You know, him getting upset with Goldberg destroying his car, and that gruesome leg injury in his match against Scott Steiner. I can never shake the image of that. You know, his leg went that way, you know, twisted that way. It was so painful to watch, and it was like, oh. So, but you know what? Sid had some great moments too. I just finished watching WWE Superstars from 1995, where he was supposed to face Savio Vega. And Bam Bam Bigelow got involved, and Henry Godwin chased away DiBiase and decided to slap Sid instead, and Sid went completely nuts. So you gotta remember, he made his debut back in 1991 in the WWE, and before that he was an enforcer for the Four Horsemen at the time in WCW and NWA. And it was also part of the Skyscrapers with Danny Spivey until Mark Calloway took over, or Mark Callis took over for Sid, a.k.a. Mark Callis, a.k.a. The Undertaker, took over. And there were so many beautiful, great moments, I should say. You know, you got him, you got Sid and Vader teaming up. Now the Masters of the Powerbomb are up in the big ring in the sky. One of my favorite matches of Sid was when he faced the Undertaker for the title at WrestleMania 13. Now I know Romy 2184, aka Jerome Latimer, kind of questioned me on that. So I'm going to explain a little bit why I like the matchup. I've always been a big fan of big guy on big guy match, and I thought, in my mind, The Undertaker and Psycho Sid were evenly matched, height and weight. I figured this would be an even playing field. And that's, well, I think the only time that the match got ruined was when Bret Hart kept on getting involved in the matchup. So that was a huge deal. But anyways, but in the end, though, like I said, Sid and Undertaker, they knew each other very, very well from their days in WCW. So, will only be a match. It was a great history. Sid winning the title against his first title against Shawn Michaels in Madison Square Garden. I thought that was a good thing. It's sad that the last final match in the WWE, it was a one-time appearance when he faced Heath Slater a few years back. So, same thing with Vader, which is very... I can imagine how Heath Slater's feeling about this. Because remember, can imagine that Vader's last match in the WWE, last WWE television appearance, last match in the WWE was against Heath Slater. Same thing for Sid. And I believe they all came back to haunt. They both came back to haunt up Heath Slater in their last appearance as well. So Sid and Vader, their final match against Heath Slater. And like I said, I can imagine what Heath Slater's going through right now, finding out that his final, that he probably knew his final opponents in the WWE were Sid and Vader. He was their final opponent, so it's like I can imagine what he's going through. So my condolences to the family of Sid Udy, beautiful family indeed. The Gunner, Sid's wife, and children. Condolences and prayers to the rest of his extended family and friends and fans. And, rest in peace, Sid Justice. Sid Justice. I like the 91-92 theme song that Sid Justice came out here. You only but the learner, Hogan. You only but the learner, because I rule the world. I will never forget, Sid Justice. I'm Sid Justice, and I'm the master and ruler of the world. And Hogan, you only but the learner. I like that. I like when he yelled at me, Gene. You bullheaded little wolf! Oh, man. Really. Sid, only have that. And then we botched up the half the brain part of the part against the NWO. If only you have half the brain that you do. I'm like, Sid, we're gonna miss Sid. We're gonna miss Sid, man. The man, Sid Justice. Rest in peace. Psycho Sid Vicious, whatever you want to call him. I call him the man. And because he was the man before Goldberg. So rest in peace, Sid Justice. The master and ruler of the world. Hogan, you're only but the learner. So, anyways. So, rest in peace, Sid Justice. We're going to miss you, Sid. Alright, now, this matchup, the main event, Uncle Howdy in his first match back under the Bo Dallas guys, of course, and Chad Gable, these two went at it. These two went at it. It was a great matchup indeed. Ivy now gets involved during the matchup, but then distracting Uncle Howdy. Then the Creed brothers attacking Uncle Howdy. Uncle Howdy starts laughing. Lights go out. Lights go back on. Here comes Rowan. Here comes Gacy. Here comes Eric Rowan, Joe Gacy, Dexter Loomis attacking Chad Gable, and then they brawl with the Creeds. And as Eric Rowan is trying to brawl with the Creeds, Ivy now is trying to give him a sleeper hold. And Eric Rowan's still going, fighting people. And Ivy now is on his back like a piggy, basically giving Ivy now a piggyback ride while she was trying to put him to sleep. And he's still beating people up. And they chase the Creed brothers away. You know what I'm thinking? I haven't heard much from Damon Kemp. I don't know if he's injured or what. But I would not be surprised that Damon Kemp would be the fourth member of, the fifth member, shall we say, of American Made. I wouldn't put it past me if Damon Kemp ended up on the main roster. Will he go by Damon Kemp, or will he go by Bobby Stevenson? Or has he been released? Damon Kemp, I forget now. I don't know. But I'll have to look that up to see if I'm right. But if Damon Kemp has not been released, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back from whatever injury he has. He joins forces with American Made to make it even with the Wyatt Six. So, And so, but back to the ring though. Chad Gable was distracted. Uncle Howdy took advantage. Boom. Sister Abigail, 1, 2, 3. Uncle Howdy wins his first match in the WWE. Bo Dallas making his return. I think it's a beautiful. It's nearly over 1 year ago since we lost Bray Wyatt, aka Wyndham Rotunda. So a very touching moment, and as you know too, if you notice on Xavier Woods' armband, they had Sid on it. So Xavier Woods, give him a shout out for being classy and paying a tribute to the master and ruler of the world, Sid Justice. And Hogan, you're only but the learner. I like that. And I always like this 1991-92 theme song. Like when you walk, when you're walking, it's like you're walking like you own the place, you know. So it was really cool. Like I said, yeah, the reason why I like Sid and Undertaker, I thought those two had an even score, even matchup. So, yep. So, rest in peace, Sid. Sid. It was a great. Now that is the final Raw for final Raw, not for August. Final Raw before Bash in Berlin. So, what's going to happen on SmackDown? It's going to get crazy. As usual, with the Bloodline causing a lot of havoc. Well, we'll see what happens. But tonight, we got NXT. I got a lot of videos to do, man. Because there's a lot of stuff. The Nintendo Direct was over. I will get to that. But first, like I said, upcoming next will be the High Rollers. Final Trebek Tuesday of August 2024. Thank you for tuning in to episode 1633 of Eric Lima Shenanigans 1977. Again, welcome to Comedy Fan 74 for subscribing. Thank you, Comedy Fan 74. What's going on? And by the way, I'm going to address Alex Putnam right now before we end this thing, because he said he doesn't want Otani and the Dodgers or the Red Sox. No offense, Eric. Alex, I wouldn't worry about that 8 90. In fact, even though I would love to see Otani on the Red Sox, unfortunately, the brass doesn't have that much money to pony up to sign the guy. So, and they had no guts signing him. So, they didn't have the guts to sign him. So, it's their. So, if anything, it's Sox ownership's fault, anyways. You don't have to worry that for you not to worry about Otani on the Red Sox. I would love to see Shohei Ohtani, but, our ownership is being too stupid for that. So, don't worry, Alex Putnam. You'll never see him on the Red Sox because our ownership is stupid not to sign him. So, unfortunately for us Red Sox fans, but the good news is you don't have to worry about it, but you have to worry about it. I know, Alex, you're a Braves fan. You're going to have to worry about it with him on the Dodgers. So, hopefully, and Ohtani's been having a great year, 40-40. 40-40 guy now. So that's all the time we have on this show. Like I said, up next we have some High Rollers, Final Trebek Tuesday of 2024. A lot of ground to cover. A lot of stuff I want to get to. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm excited. So thank you for tuning in. And until next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, take us home.
That is all for today's episode. This is your announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E, do it for Bob Saget Productions, and in association with a Raven Bofa Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching today's episode. Tune in next time for another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. Goodbye for now.